Hello, this is Tom Turner with another podcast in a series which takes an overview of urban design, garden design and landscape design, their history, theory, position and prospects. If you like images with your text, there's an illustrated version of this podcast on YouTube. This is an updated version of a video I published in 2015, and it asks the same question. What is landscape architecture theory? I use the word theory in one of the senses defined in the Oxford English Dictionary to mean a conception of something to be done or the method of doing it. My conception is that landscape architecture has one aim, 3 objectives and 5 sets of techniques. You could call it a 1-3-5 profession. The primary aim is to create a good public realm. Using Jellicoe's term, we can call it a collective landscape. Or, remembering Claude Lorraine and John Claudius Loudon, you can call it a Claudian aim. The 3 objectives are to create places which are useful, beautiful and well made. These objectives can be summarised as Vitruvian, and there is much to be said for using Vitruvius Latin vocabulary, utilitas, venustas and firmitas. I find the customary English translations misleading. They are commodity, delight and firmness. The 5 compositional elements of landscape architecture are land, water, vegetation, buildings and pavings. The various design professions are both related and distinct, with some close together and others far apart. Like urban design and garden design, they draw on individual aptitudes, educational programs and bodies of theory. Some architects are good at interior design, others at planning, and others, like Alvar Aalto and Zaha Hadid, at furniture design. But it does not follow that architecture is a single discipline, or that the title deserves legal protection. Nor are urban design and garden design the same thing, though both are more like drawing on the bark of a tree than on a sheet of white paper or a computer screen. As an art of composition, urban design can learn from garden design, with landscape architecture as a mother of both. In its first century, after 1862, when landscape architecture was growing into an organised profession, practitioners wanted to distinguish themselves from garden designers and to become more involved with public projects. Frederick Law Olmsted began his professional career with a public project, Central Park, and undertook some garden design later in his career. Thomas Mawson, who became first president of the UK's Institute of Landscape Architects, wrote separate books on garden making and on civic art. He saw both subjects as part of landscape architecture, but by treating them separately, he widened the gulf between the new profession and its ancient origins. Patrick Geddes, a leading planner, wrote of city improvers like the gardeners from whom they develop. And I'm sorry that the link between cities and gardens as design activities has weakened. The realms of public and private are separate but related, as are the individual unconscious and the collective unconscious. Gardens remain excellent places in which to develop spatial concepts, and history has many examples of urban design ideas which derive from garden design ideas. Here are some of them. A manor in ancient Egypt was as much a garden plan as it was a town plan. Beijing, was based on the traditional planning of China's royal estates. They integrated palaces with gardens, parks, rivers, and mountains. Isfahan was based on the classical planning of Persian gardens, dating from 1,000 years before the birth of Islam. Baroque Rome was planned on the model of Sixtus V's villa garden in Montalto. Georgian London's parks, squares and streets were based on Renaissance and neoclassical garden plans, as was Edinburgh's new town. 19th century Paris and Washington, D.C. were based on Baroque garden plans with focal points and radial avenues. The modernist cities of the 20th century, most regrettably, were not based on spatial ideas and had not been tested at the scale of landscape and garden design. So they're dead dull. You can find a longer, but still short, account of landscape theory in my Kindle book on landscape architecture. It's organised as answers to these questions. What is the definition of landscape architecture? When did landscape architecture originate? How are good landscapes designed? Why is there a social need for landscape architecture? Where do landscape architects create public goods? Who were the great landscape designers in the Eastern tradition and in the Western tradition? What's next for landscape architecture? Well, thanks for listening. If interested, you can find more of my views on the gardenvisit.com and landscape architecture YouTube channels and websites. Or you can subscribe on your favourite podcast player to hear future podcasts about designing cities, landscapes and gardens.